Good to have you back on the program. What do you make of these orders that you're hearing from the Paris Air Show? What are you closely watching out for?
Well, air shows are a big attraction in terms of announcing orders. It takes a long time to negotiate these big deals, but they're typically announced at air shows like this. We're seeing a flurry of exciting orders. I think it reflects tremendous optimism about the future growth potential of the industry, particularly in this part of the world.
Yeah, and we've been hearing a lot about Air Asia and I guess future plane purchases. 200 Airbus A320 planes. Do you think they're actually going to buy that many? Do they need that many?
Well, it's a large number, but there are attractions of placing large orders because it gives you more bargaining power with the manufacturers and you might get a better price. But it's a big ask. They've got to be financed. I think you've got to recognise that when you order aircraft today, you're going to be taking delivery in 5 to 10 years' time, spread out. So that, if indeed that order is confirmed, you've got to think it in those terms. And that again comes back to the idea of what is the growth potential in Asia. Asian airlines at the moment represent about a quarter of global aviation. That figure will grow to about a third of the market in a much bigger market over the next 2 decades.
Yeah, and also Sarah Walker's report, they're talking about, I guess, the dominance of these single-aisle planes. Do you think it will be the predominant planes that will be flying in the future?
Well, those two popular families, the 737 and the 320 families from Boeing and Airbus, dominate that short-haul, medium-haul sector. But in terms of longer-haul intercontinental routes, the wide-bodied aircraft are the right aircraft for those routes, and we're seeing exciting developments there, again with Boeing and Airbus competing. In the lower end of the market, the narrow bodies, we've got new competition from Bombardier, as was mentioned. Comac in China are developing an aircraft in the same segment.
Okay, well, let's also talk about Hong Kong Airlines. They're looking to sign up some A380s to add to their, I guess, their plane haul. But, you know, what about, I guess, this development between Boeing and Airbus? They have their A380 out. We're still waiting for the Dreamliner. And then we're hearing about this delay in the A350.
Well, the Dreamliner 787 will fly for All Nippon finally this year, entering service after many delays. The 350, as I understand it, has some slight delays, but I know it's a similarly competitive aircraft and a lot of orders have been placed. And then in the very large aircraft, the 380 is still attracting new orders.
Okay, but you also hear that the 787 may be expanded to compete with the wide-body A350. Do you think that's the right strategy for Boeing?
Absolutely. If you look at the history of the industry, you develop a family of aircraft around the same basic airframe with various stretched fuselages to trade off more capacity against range, with some variations in the engine type selected. So families of aircraft is the way you match the aircraft to the different segments of the market, so there's nothing unusual about that.
Okay, so last year at the Paris Air Show, I think we saw an industry rebound with $18 billion worth of planes being ordered. This time around, do you think we're going to see a little bit less?
Well, the mood of optimism is palpable. I think, again, that reflects optimism about what demand's going to be 5 to 10 years down the road when these aircraft get delivered. One of the big drivers right now is high oil prices. That's the bane of every airline CEO's life right now, and profits are being squeezed because of that. But paradoxically, high oil prices encourage you to buy new aircraft because new aircraft, as your report indicated, are much more fuel efficient. So you have this paradox that even when the airlines are feeling it the pinch, you still see tremendous optimism and appetite to place orders.